Hey, welcome to Cinema Gulp. I'm Ben.
And I'm John, and we just got back from seeing Suspiria. How did Suspiria make you feel, Ben?
It made me feel like I want to drink the blood of a Virgo, John. How'd it make you feel? For those of you that don't know, Suspiria is actually a remake of a Dario Argento film from the late 70s. It's pretty much about dancing, witches, awesome eerie music, and a lot of raining. This film definitely keeps the raining, definitely keeps the dancing, actually ups the dancing quite a significant amount. And to me, it has the same type of eerie feeling, but just in a very, very different way. A more sort of, if you know what an Argento movie looks like, this does not look like an Argento movie, nor should it look like an Argento movie. It took the basic plot of Suspiria, and it made something completely different. This is a completely different movie than the first Suspiria movie, and I like it for that. This is a long movie. This clocks in at over 2.5 hours, which I know John loved. But I will tell you right now, and then I will pass it over to John here, that I loved almost every frame of this movie, no matter how long it is.
I pretty much fucking hated this movie. The original film is an hour and a half.
Yes.
And even that film has very little plot.
Yes.
Very little character development. It's all style, no substance in that film. I'm not even a big fan of the original, but what things I do like about the original, like the amazing colorful cinematography, they don't use that in this film. Understandable. I get why the filmmakers wouldn't want to recreate that same look because it's so iconic. You know, they'd have something to live up to. So they're trying to do something different, and they certainly did. I will give the film credit for being a very different movie. There's things I liked about it, but for the most part, I really just found it a confusing movie that seemed a little bit pretentious at times and trying to be arty, and just didn't really connect with it ever.
If you're going to remake an Argento movie, you fucking better be pretentious. You got to be pretentious to even try, because that's the whole point of Argento. The joke in film school is that you're fucking pretentious if you talk about Argento. I agree with you about the color palette, and it's missing. Here's the problem that the DP of this film had. They had to make it look like, I hate to say it, makes me sound old, but they had to make it seem like a period piece because it takes place in the 70s. And it does a good job of not just setting people up and dressing them in 70s clothes. It feels like the 70s. I think last night you had said one of the things that really sells that is the fact that it's in Berlin, and there's a lot of the foreign aspect to it.
Is it Berlin? I thought it was Drisseldorf from all the fucking rain the whole movie.
It apparently rains a lot in Berlin because it takes place there in the first film, and it's constantly raining in that one too. So much that you can barely even hear the dialogue in the first movie. Like they wanted the rain to sound higher than the dialogue.
The costumes and the set design, the production design, it did really feel like that period piece from the 70s.
The movie does evoke a lot of like strange, eerie, witchy type of tension without using that Argento color palette that looks like a gobo threw up a bunch of fucking Fruit Loops. So
I felt like this movie took a while to get to kind of the big breakout scene that really reminded you, okay, this is a remake of Suspiria. This is going to be a violent horror movie. So it does take a while to get to that point. But once some of the crazy witch stuff starts happening, there's some pretty bone-crushing and head-exploding violence in this movie.
Yeah,
that stands out.
It's beautiful evil. Like, I give it a lot of credit because it really does just embrace the evil. I mean, it's so dark and disturbing, and like there's nothing about it that shows any signs of like kind of hope or redemption for anyone.
The one bit of light in the darkness of this film is the old man character. I forget his name.
He's Dr. Kupperschlagen.
The old man is played by Tilda Swinton, and she does an amazing job in this performance.
Her Tilda Swinton playing multiple. I think she plays three, maybe more. We're still counting. We also have Dakota Fanning in this movie. Dakota Fanning.
I believe it's Melanie Johnson.
I'm sorry, Melanie Johnson Jr. I liked her a lot in this movie. I don't know how old she is as an actress, but did you get the idea that she was supposed to be playing a younger person? Was she supposed to be playing like a teenager?
You know, they didn't really establish her age.
But do you notice how she kind of like her body movements and her mannerisms were kind of childish? It made me think of the daughter from Taken, who was like 30 years old when she played a 16-year-old, and they made her run.
Maggie
like,
Grace?
Yeah, Maggie Grace. Like,
yeah.
They had her be a 16-year-old, and she ran like she had like flippers for arms and legs.
Let's jump into the nudity.
Let's jump into how much nudity is in this movie.
It's an art house film, so you get this kind of risque
They
stuff
do
sometimes.
get away with it.
Yeah. I'm glad it had some nudity. At least there was something to kind of enjoy. I mean, some of the nudity, a lot of the nudity comes towards the end when you have this big climax. You're not enjoying the nudity because there's so much other revolting stuff going on in that scene that even if there's some hot chicks flailing and dancing around, it's nothing titillating in that scene.
I disagree. While I was watching that ending scene and all those naked chicks everywhere, I was thinking what it'd be like to be into bestiality and be watching the musical Cats. Gore, I want to see 3 really top-notch, disturbing motherfucking scenes in this movie. And the very first one, I know you know what I'm talking about. It does take a while to come in.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that scene was hard to watch.
Such a standout. Yes.
Very creative.
Very creative. That is a scene that I will remember. That's a scene that certainly, affected me while watching it. To the point where you want it to end. You are like,
it was long.
This has gone on long enough. And we need it to end, and it keeps going on. But then the end is insane. It just goes off the rails.
Absolutely insane.
There's amazing makeup effects in this movie in those 3 scenes specifically.
And I'm wondering if the reason why we didn't hear more about this crazy ending out of TIFF, it's so evil and so disturbing. I think people wanted to literally wash it away from them after they watched it.
Understandable.
I even feel the same way, even though I just admire so much about the movie. I do feel, aside from the dream sequences and the fact that it's 2 hours and 34 minutes long, and I can tell you right now, as an editor, how much I could chop out of this movie and it would be the same fucking movie. I loved the editing when it needed to matter. And well, obviously it matters the most when it's about cutting the film down to a reasonable amount of time. But you know what I mean, in scenes where it matters, how it's used in the scenes to make things either scary or progress things as they get higher and higher. So I really liked that, and I think I'd heard of this editor before when we stuck around for the post-credit scene, which is amazing. You should watch that, by the way. I'm not going to spoil it, but I'll just tell you right now, Hocus Pocus 2.
How about that, the guy who did the score? What do you think of that? Tom Yorr, who did the score in this film.
That's who it was?
Yeah, Tom Yorr of Radiohead did the score.
Here's the thing. I like it. I do. It's great. And it matter again, it's used appropriately in the movie. But I love the original score of the original movie. I love it.
You can't replace a band called Goblin. There's very little of the original that I'm like in love with. I don't like that movie all that much either.
I don't like it as much as other people seem to.
Yeah. I mean, people consider it this amazing classic. And after rewatching it recently, I kind of question how many of D'Argento's movies I'd actually really like.
When it uses the score in one particular point with the real big dance number, it was beautiful. That was the best use of the lighting of the movie, the editing of the movie, and the sound of the movie, and then the stunt people that they had acting. But the dance numbers, whether you like dance or not, are fucking impressive and weird. And like, I didn't even know dance like that. What is that dance?
Well,
it's like,
yeah, it's not my style of dance.
But that stuff looks crazy. Like, so I don't blame. I mean, they can't expect like these actors who are probably getting paid pennies to work on this low budget movie to fucking learn
She's
that.
She's not such a strong actress, in my opinion. They could have just hired a dancer who could act.
I liked her. I'm not saying that somebody else couldn't have played her part. I'm definitely not saying that.
I think her sister's better, Ellie Fanning.
Mary Elizabeth Olsen or whatever, Elizabeth Olsen or whatever.
Mary Master Antonio.
What about Mary Stuart Masterson?
I fucking hated this movie. It was just so confusing. Like the names of the witches in this movie really confuse you. There's this dialogue that's going on and voiceover, and you never, in my opinion, I just never really kind of knew what was going on with the Coven of Witches. 2 or 3 scenes that stand out because of the violence and some of the interesting editing and camera work. I found it to be a really tough watch. I'm here to say this movie fucking sucked, and my gulp score for this is going to be a 2.
I cannot touche that because I'm on the opposite side. I think Cinema Gulp today really represents the way not just other critics but people are seeing this movie, where it's just a divide right down the middle. Because I don't know if anyone can actually like this movie because I kind of love it and he kind of hates it. It fit my taste of film watching. It's what I like to watch. I don't always like a slow burn, but when it captures me and it takes me in right away and I get fully invested, there are twists and there are turns in this film. They take a long time to get there, but if done correctly, I'm willing to take the 2 hours and 34 minutes to let it get me there. And as a remake, I don't give a shit. I wasn't even comparing this to the original Suspiria because it literally is its own movie completely. It's hauntingly beautiful and it's so goddamn disturbing, and sometimes I love to challenge myself with disturbing things. But I'm going to give it 8.25 gulps.
We want to know what you guys think because it's a divisive film. So if you check out the film and you check out our review, please let us know what you think below.
John, where can they find us?
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
That's right. Until next time, this is Ben.
And this is John.
Speaking for the covenant of Cinema Gulp, we drink your witch's brew.
Мазулина упорно запрещает гондоны. Агония, спазм, стук падающей короны. У страны похлеще, чем Анна о неврозы. Дума бездумно, бездарны законы. Нет экономики или обороны. А есть Лубянка, лагерь, наручники, заборы. Бастрыкин, Сечин, жулики, воры. Железные занавесы, кормушки, щеколды.